this computer. Okay, friends, I'm C. Nitin Pathak, Chartered Accountant, immediate past president of ISACA chapter Ahmedabad. Okay, and we are taking these lectures to educate the CA community, and this is one of the main purpose of us. I'm the founder president of ISACA chapter. My main purpose is to promote the fraternity into the other field like system audit, system security, SAP implementation, and so many varied fields are available. Because India is going to be the king of another king of the world, and we are competing with not USA, but we are competing with China. And we have some advantage, we have some disadvantage, but whatever it may be, we are going to have a niche in the years to come, and one of the most beneficiary is going to be the CA fraternity, as well as some fraternity who are providing services, including medical doctors. If you see, because of this corona, as compared to other countries, we have suffered less. Of course, we have suffered, but compared to other countries, we have suffered less as compared to USA as well as Europe. We can't compete with China, but many countries have suffered a lot. Said and done, my main purpose is to make India strengthen by each community working together as a unity. With this, I'm going to present today recent changes in definition of FEMA, qua residency status, plus what is the residency status as per Income Tax Act and what is as per FEMA, and how FEMA is implemented. I'm not going to talk on NRI taxation too much. But this is a series, this is a block of a series where this is one lecture and we will continue for many more sessions to come on this. So people who listen to this audio or YouTube presentation or in the class, or they would be able to get it thoroughly, what is happening and how they can go ahead. With this, I'm starting with the presentation of today. Basically, taxability of this taxability depends on the basis of residence, that income tax is on the basis of residence status of an individual or a entity. There are three status: resident, non-resident, and resident but not ordinary. So those are resident. So Sachin Tendulkar is a resident and he has to pay tax on all global income. So, say for example, Ricky Ponting. Ricky Ponting is liable to pay tax only on the income which he has earned during his stay in India. Say for he is working in IPL as a coach for Mumbai Indians. So during that period, whatever he earns, he is liable for tax. Say for example, IPL is done in IPL was continued. He coached during that training in UAE or Gulf countries. During that period, whatever income earned is liable to tax in India, because though he is non-resident, the status, because it was controlled from India. So he may be liable for that. So there are three definitions: resident, non-resident, and resident but not ordinary. Resident has to pay for global tax. Non-resident has to pay for only tax which is earned in India, and resident but not ordinary has to pay only tax which has come, accrued, and arise with a business control from India. Okay. So these are the three definitions which I'm going to explain you, and the government has become very strict and made some sea changes in the years to come for that, because now government wants that they want to have more revenue. So what they have decided that जो 182 days था उनका days reduce करके 120 कर दिया. तो इसमें provision क्या है कि if during the financial year, if you are 119 days, you are non-resident. If you are having more than 119 days, 120 days, then you become a resident, non-resident, resident. And resident has to pay a whole tax, but with a rider. अगर जिसको 120 days to 183 days है, but उनका जो number of days है is income is less than 15 lakh, then they are not covered. So they want to cover those who are having income in India more than 15 lakh. The definition of income accrued and arise in India, iska definition, what is from income source, I have covered in the later slides. So government has reduced 182 days to 190 days whose income is above 15 lakh. Those who are below 15 lakh, still the number of days would remain 182 days. Stateless citizen, जो citizen है वो कभी इंडिया में आया ही नहीं. They have never come to India. For them, stateless citizen means number of days के criteria में नहीं आएगा. But who are a citizen of India and his income is above 15 lakh, then stateless citizen has to pay tax in India of Indian income as well as foreign income, because many persons were such that they were not a citizen of any country. They were not domicile of any country. And they have they were managing their affairs in such a way that they are not resident of any country. They are called stateless citizen, and they have to pay tax on that. Now, anti-avoidance, those who want to ask me a question can ask me a question in between. I am trying to unmute, I've unmuted everyone, so they can ask me a question anywhere. Okay, anytime you can ask me a question, I'll be answering in between, or you can mail me, I'll answer later on. With this, I'm going ahead with this presentation. एक सेकंड में इसको हाइड कर देता हूँ, हाइड फ्लोटिंग कंट्रोल. सो आई एम इनटू पहले जो 182 days to 120 days स्टेटलेस, और जो 9 out of 10 years, अगर ये तीनों कंडीशन फुलफिल हो जाती है तो बिकम रेसिडेंट इन इंडिया. सो 9 out of 10, 729 in 7 years, 120 days और डीम रेसिडेंस. इसका ये प्रोविजन है एंटी अवॉइडेंस फॉर सेक्शन 6 रेसिडेंट बट नॉट ऑर्डिनरी. Okay, I'm giving you an example of Mr. John. Mr. John is a UK citizen, UK resident. He has never come to India. He comes in 2020 and is deputed to work in India. He will travel between India and UK for his job. In the preceding 4 years, 2016, 17 to 19, 20, he was not in India for a single day. So he did not complete 365 days. जो अपना जो क्राइटेरिया 182 days, 60 days और 4 years 365 days, ये 60 days is extended to 182 days who are resident and coming on a visit to India. Now this is the way the definition is drafted. Now 60 days is extended to 182 days who are living India or who are coming on a visit to India. Living India means the year in which he left India for a job. So अगर कोई आदमी 200 दिन हो जाता है and then he leaves, then in that year he would become resident. But 182 days का 60 days की जगह definition is extended to 182 days. अगर उसकी इनकम 15 लाख से कम हो जाती है तो 120 हो जाता है. This is how the definition works. Okay, should I give you, do you have a clarity on this for number of days? Because this is a very devastating definition. अगर कोई इंडिया का रेसिडेंट हो गया, then he has to pay all income which he has earned abroad. Okay, so now ये मैं जॉन की बात कर रहा हूँ. अगर जॉन इंडिया में आता है तो in the first year he will never have to pay the global income because he would remain resident but not ordinary. He will not become resident and ordinary. So वो 9 out of 10 जो ईयर था जो पहले हमने कवर किया उसमें वो नहीं आएगा. Okay, let me go here. ये ईयर रहा। 9 से 10 के बीच में आउट ऑफ 10 ईयर you would not be last line resident but ordinary के लिए three criteria compulsory है। 9 out of 10 year he should be resident but not ordinary। 729 days 7 year citizen 120 day और deemed residency में नहीं आना चाहिए। तो John will remain a resident and ordinary in the first year and he doesn't have to pay global tax। Okay, clear? This definition is clear। Let me read you for आपका convenience के लिए मैं फिर से एक बार ये repeat कर जाता हूँ। Then I'll go to अगर किसी को resident तो he must have किसी को resident but not ordinary बनना है तो 182 days होना चाहिए। 182 days से ज्यादा है तो he become resident of India और 60 days out of 365 days। अगर ये 60 he stays in India for 60 or more during 365 days। अगर 365 days हो गया और 60 days से ज्यादा है तो जो आदमी on a visit to India होता है और those who are live in India in that case 60 days definition extended to 182 days। okay, so deemed residency मैंने समझा दिया, जो कोई भी कंट्री का रेसिडेंस नहीं है। An individual being a citizen having total income other than income from foreign source exceeding 15 lakh shall be deemed to be resident in any previous year if he is not liable to tax in the country। इनकम फ्रॉम फॉरेन सोर्स की डेफिनेशन में यहां आपको समझाता हूं। ओके, ये मेरी डेफिनेशन है इनकम फ्रॉम अदर सोर्सेस। ओके, okay, I'm into this definition। ये मैं आपको ये फिर से समझा देता हूँ। लेस देन अगर इसका दोनों कंडीशन 120 दिन से कम रहता है और 15 लाख से इनकम कम है तो नॉन रेसिडेंट। 120 से कम 15 लाख से ज्यादा देन ऑल्सो ही विल नॉट बी एप्लीकेबल। 120 से कम दिन है और इनकम ज्यादा है बट जिसका 120 दिन से ज्यादा है मोर देन 122 डेज 182 वाले आदमी को रेसिडेंट बट नॉट ऑर्डिनरी गिना जाएगा, उसको ग्लोबल इनकम पे टैक्स भरना पड़ेगा बिकॉज ऑफ द चेंज इन द डेफिनेशन ऑफ दिस इज द मेन क्रक्स ऑफ दिस होल डेफिनेशन। ये चार्ट इसी के लिए बनाया है। Now I am going into the definition of income from foreign source। The new provision will be applicable only of income other than income from foreign source exceeds 15 lakh। उसका फॉरेन की इनकम से इंडिया की इनकम अगर 15 लाख से ज्यादा है देन ये बिकम, अब वो 15 लाख की डेफिनेशन है तो वो अपने को 182 डेज में वो फॉलो होगा। इनकम has been defined as this, thus for computing threshold limit of 15 lakh the total income or any income other than income accrues or arise outside India except where such income is derived from a business controlled or profession set up in India। The following income will be includable while computing the threshold limit of 15 lakh। अब इनकम accrues or arise in India और deemed to accrue or arise in India। नंबर 1, अगर ये डेफिनेशन में आपको 10 लाख होता है रिसीव्ड और डीम टू बी रिसीव्ड इन इंडिया 5 लाख, तो ये आपको 15 लाख से ऊपर चला जाता है तो होता है इनकम accrues outside India but is derived from a business controlled or profession in India। से फॉर एग्जांपल अपनी आईपीएल खेली जाती है और अपने रिकी पॉइंटिंग को पैसा उधर की कमाई से मिलता है तो ही इट बिकम्स ए सोर्स ऑफ इंडियन इनकम नॉट अ फॉरेन इनकम। दो आईपीएल वाज स्प्रेड इन दुबई बट आईपीएल इज कंट्रोल्ड फ्रॉम इंडिया। इनकम फ्रॉम फॉरेन सोर्स मीनिंग इसकी डेफिनेशन एग्जांपल ऑफ इनकम इंक्लूडेबल व्हाइल एग्जामिनिंग द एप्लीकेबल थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट ऑफ 15 लाख। मेरे को डिविडेंड मिलता है, इफ आई गेट अ डिविडेंड फ्रॉम रिलायंस it would be my Indian income। If I get a dividend from Google, it's not an interest income। Same way is the interest received from money given to Google। If I have given to India Reliance, I'll be giving a taxable income। Income from business control profession set up in India। से IPL का जो भी बिजनेस है वो इंडिया से कंट्रोल होता है तो इट विल बी कंट्रोल ऑफ प्रोफेशन सेट ऑफ इंडिया। आईपीएल के रिलेटेड कोई भी मेरा बिजनेस है तो वो इंडिया में गिना जाए। कैपिटल गेन अराइजिंग फ्रॉम ए ट्रांसफर ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी सिचुएटेड इन इंडिया। मेरी जो इनकम मेरा इंडिया में हाउस है तो इट वुड बी इफ आई सेल इट एंड बाय इट वुड बी कैपिटल गेन टैक्स। पर जबकि मुकेश अंबानी ने लंदन में प्रॉपर्टी खरीदी, प्रॉपर्टी सिचुएटेड इन लंदन नॉट इन इंडिया, कैपिटल गेन अराइजिंग आउट ऑफ इनकम from London property would not be a income from earned from India. It would be abroad. Capital gain arising on transfer of shares of a company which derives its value substantially from property situated in India. Say for example, Vodafone has a company situated outside India, but Vodafone का पूरा business, उसका जो Vodafone का trademark, उसकी employee, इसका टावर, इसकी कनेक्टिविटी, इसका वोटिंग, उसका जो भी क्या बोलते हैं, वो जो राइट टू टेलीकास्ट जो भी है वो वेव्स, वो सब इंडिया में है। तो अगर वो शेयर उधर से अगर ट्रांसफर करता है तो भी इट वुड बी टैक्सेबल इन इंडिया बिकॉज कैपिटल गेन अराइजिंग फ्रॉम ए शेयर ऑफ ए कंपनी विच डिराइव्स वैल्यू सब्सटेंशियली फ्रॉम ए प्रॉपर्टी सिचुएटेड इन इंडिया। अगर रिलायंस का जो भी प्रॉपर्टी है इंडिया में है, उसकी रेंटल इनकम आती है तो वो टैक्सेबल इंडिया होती है। मुकेश भाई ने ये जो लंदन में जो प्रॉपर्टी खरीदी इसकी रेंटल इनकम है, तो इट विल नॉट बी कंसिडर एज इंडियन इनकम। सो हियर वी आर वेरी क्लियर। मैंने ये इसको डिवाइड करके लिखा है, डिविडेंड बिजनेस, तो आपको क्लैरिटी इधर से आ जाती है। नाउ आई एम गोइंग इनटू example of income not income while comparing income threshold limit in salary income received on account of services rendered outside India. Suppose one of the employee is gone in Dubai or gone in London or any other country and he has served with Google. So he will not be liable for tax in India because he has services rendered outside India. ये अगर कोई गूगल का मास्टर इंडिया में वह के काम करता है and he is working for salary there, it would be taxable in India. The dividend income arising from overseas sources, Google का जो भी dividend आता है is taxable, not taxable in India because it's source outside India. Capital gain on a property situated outside India. रेंटल इनकम फ्रॉम ए प्रॉपर्टी सिचुएटेड आउटसाइड इंडिया, लंदन में मुकेश भाई की जो भी प्रॉपर्टी है उसमें इसको इंटरेस्ट नहीं भरना पड़े। बिजनेस इनकम फ्रॉम ओवरसीज हैविंग नो नेक्सस इन इंडिया, जैसे वो बिग बैश क्रिकेट प्लेड इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया, तो उसकी इनकम इंडिया में नहीं आएगी। अगर अपना खिलाड़ी उधर जाके खेलता है तो उसको उधर टैक्स भरेगा और उसको यहाँ से सोर्स मिलेगा। सपोज सचिन तेंदुलकर इज प्लेइंग इन बिग बैश और इज प्रोवाइडिंग हिज कंसल्टेंसी एज रिकी पॉइंटिंग इज डन। सपोज ही अर्न से 10 crore रुपीज फॉर प्रोवाइडिंग सर्विसेज, उधर वो 20% टैक्स भरता है, उसका 20% भर के आता है, इंडिया में उसका 33% टैक्स है। तो उसने जो भी टैक्स उधर सचिन तेंदुलकर ने उधर बिग बैश में जो काम किया 10 करोड़ का 2 करोड़ भरा, यहाँ 10 करोड़ उसकी इनकम में जाएगा, 2 करोड़ उसको बाद मिलेगा, बराबर टैक्स में उसको सेट ऑफ मिलेगा 2 करोड़। सेम वे इफ देयर इज ए DTAA देन ही हैज टू DTAA income tax or DTAA whichever is beneficial will be applicable, will be applied. Qua definition, so अपना इनकम टैक्स इंडिया का जो लॉ है इससे DTAA would be having a priority over that. मैंने आपको डिटर्मिनेशन ऑफ रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस बता दिया, जिसमें हमने बताया था कि आई एम इनटू ओके, हम कहाँ थे? डिटर्मिनेशन ऑफ a status of resident under डबल टैक्सेशन अवॉइडेंस एग्रीमेंट, वो हमने ले लिया है। ये सपोज आई एम ए रेसिडेंट इन इंडिया अकॉर्डिंग टू द स्टे अवेलेबल पर अमेंडेड लॉ, रेसिडेंस एज पर DTAA, जो दोनों में से जो भी है उसका टाई ब्रेकर टेस्ट होगा। अगर टाई ब्रेकर टेस्ट में अगर मैं रेसिडेंट हो गया बराबर है, तो मेरी फॉरेन इनकम पे भी मुझे टैक्स भरना पड़ेगा, rate applicable to double taxation territory. But resident India after tiebreaker test, if I become a non-resident, मेरे को foreign की income पे मुझे टैक्स नहीं भरना पड़ेगा। Indian income taxable at the rate under the act for resident will be applicable to me. ये पूरा चार्ट है जो मैंने बताया, इनकम दो accruing arising out of India but derived from a business control purposes set up in India. In that case resident but not ordinary को इस पे टैक्स भरना पड़ेगा, नॉन रेसिडेंट को उस पे टैक्स नहीं भरना पड़ेगा जो रेड कॉलम में डाला है। इनकम रेसिडेंट टू बी रेसिडेंट इंडिया सबको टैक्स भरना, इनकम एक्रूड और इन इंडिया सबको टैक्स भरना पड़ेगा। से फॉर एग्जांपल गूगल इज प्रोवाइडिंग is doing advertisement in India through वेब में जब हम खरीद जाते हैं तो जैसे ही हम कुछ कुछ देखते हैं तो उनकी ऐड आती है, जो ऐड होती है वो ऐड कंपनी से वो पैसा लेते हैं. That income, though they don't have a physical presence in India, but because of economic presence in India, they are liable for tax. Income, though accruing arising outside India, but derived from a business control or profession set up in India. So economic significance गिन के उस पर टैक्स भरना पड़ेगा. इनकम रिसीव्ड आउटसाइड इंडिया, जो रेसिडेंट है उसको ही टैक्स भरना, नॉन रेसिडेंट को टैक्स नहीं भरना, रेसिडेंट को नहीं भरना. इनकम accruing or arising outside India, other than income from that, this is the most simplest but understood explanation of this thing. Now I am into because of the change in the status. आपका interest payable on Indian company business trust would be become taxable. DTAA नहीं apply होगी, 6D ये सब में अंदर नहीं जाता हूँ. This is most important and widely understood to be understood explanation. This thing. Exemption in respect of interest on NRA deposit will continue to be available. Exemption in respect of interest on NRA credit balance will be available despite of the change in the residence status. Suppose मैं दुबई में हूँ and I become a resident. जब दुबई में था मैंने फिक्स डिपॉजिट रखी, एफसीआर रखी या एनआरई रखी, जो भी डिपॉजिट मैंने रखी है वो 5 साल के लिए रखी. And then next year I become a resident of India as per Income Tax Act or as per FEMA also, but still it would be exempted. Let me go through the definition, because what they're saying, because RBI permits you to put the money, continue to put the, allow you to put the money in FD or NRE account, you can continue till you become, the FD become mature. That will not be as per FEMA is allowed. So 1042, it is exempt. Let me read it. I'm explaining you again for the purpose of clarity. Suppose on 1st 1/1/20, I have put an FD for 5 years. And and after putting 1/1/20, 31st March 20 में मैं इंडिया में आ गया. इंडिया में आने के बाद I become resident and ordinary resident. But FEMA law permit me to keep the FD for 5 years until the maturity. So that FD, whether it is NRE FD or FCNR deposit FD, if I continue that FD till the maturity, I will not have to pay tax on that. Let me continue the explanation with this. Section 10(4)(2), Section 10, subsection 4, subsection 2 provides exempt to an individual who is a person resident outside India as defined in clause W of section 2 of FEMA, or is a person who has been a person who has been permitted by RBI in the aforesaid account respect of income by way of interest on money standing to the credit to his credit in non-resident account in any bank in accordance with the FEMA and rules made thereunder. The above said exemption is not linked to residence status under the tax, but with the residence status under FEMA. Under FEMA, a person resident outside India means a person whose stay in India is less than 183 days, or a person who has gone outside India or staying abroad for this. I'm explaining you this definition in later on. What is the distinction between FEMA definition and Indian income tax definition? Same is FEMA, which I've already covered here. Impact of concessional tax, which was available, dividend income, which was, if you are a non-resident, you don't have to pay tax on dividend. But as soon as you become a resident, you have to pay dividend. Dividend would be taxable at the rate at which you are liable for tax, or DTAA, whichever is lower. So ये यहाँ मैंने गिन के रखा है, और DT मैंने इस डिविडेंड इनकम की एक स्लाइड ही अलग बनाई है. Interest received from government or Indian concern on money borrowed or debt incurred by government, the Indian concern in foreign currency, this will be exempt. Interest received from infrastructure bond, अगर ये infrastructure bond में जैसे ही resident हो जाए तो it will become a taxable. If it is AA, it would be liable for 5%. Interest received from Indian company on a rupee denomination currency, वो अगर हम फॉरेन करेंसी में पैसा बोरा करते हैं, ये सब सेक्शन है 115 इनकम रिसीव इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ म्यूचुअल फंड, रॉयल्टी फॉर टेक्निकल सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड टू फॉरेन रेसिडेंट नॉन रेसिडेंट, as soon as you become resident, it would be liable for tax. ये dividend की slide बहुत important है because dividend has become a complicated issue right now because now DDT has been removed. Because of that, every shareholder has to pay tax on that. In the case of resident, tax is required to be paid at the slab at which you are. In case of non-resident, tax is required to pay at 20% plus surcharge if applicable. However, DTAA into by India on foreign nation provides concession. India UK treaty, DTAA provides, and India UAE treaty provides for 10%. यूके के लिए डोमिसाइल रेसिडेंस ये सब आता है, वो मैं बाद में उसको कवर कर देता हूँ. These are the main important provision of double treaty which is affected dividend. India Singapore treaty provides for 15% this thing, 10% for company if the company holds more than 25% of shareholder shares. India Hong Kong treaty provides 5%. No further surcharge would be applicable. Dividend fund, mutual fund will be applicable at a DTAA. Mutual fund is equal to shares. Not taxable, dividend is not taxable in UAE, Hong Kong, and Singapore. Taxable in the hands of UK resident, not domicile. In UK on remittance basis. UK in the so here there are three concepts: UK resident, domicile, and remittance. There are three concepts in the case of UK. Taxable in the hands of a UK resident, not domicile. Those who are not domiciled, UK resident, and remitted on UK, you are liable for tax. Not taxable in the hands of UK non-resident. UK non-resident तो उसको टैक्स भरना ही नहीं है. Taxable in the hands of UK resident, domicile in UK. So UK is a very typical case for the purpose of calculation of dividend. They are using UK resident, non-resident, remitted, and domicile. There are three concepts they have used at the same time. If Indian citizen who qualifies, for those who have any question, they can chat, they can write in the chat, or they can send me later on. I'll answer that. Okay. And my email ID is, I am writing on the chat, nitinmpathak@gmail.com. I'll answer any of the query raised by anyone. Okay. gmail.com. Okay. I'll answer to tomorrow's email. Okay. I missed this gmail.com. Okay. Any query on any question, I'll answer you there. Okay, now and if now I'm hiding this. If the Indian citizen who qualifies as a resident but not already pursuant to amendment also qualifies as a resident detail by the application of tiebreaker test, such income, dividend income will be taxable in India at normal rate. So this completes our presentation on dividend. Now this is a concept which is new in this case. Impact of amendment, benefit of resident but not ordinary states may not be available once the Indian citizen permanently move back to India. अगर जो साल पहली साल जो आता है वो 9 out of 10 years वो complete नहीं करेगा तो he will not be liable for tax for income accruing arise outside India. But the very next year, individual is not in India for more than 729 days for a period of 7 years. In that case, this condition will not be applicable. But third year, you would start working on individual who qualify as a resident or only once he returns will not enjoy the benefit of transition period. Global income will be taxable from the year in which the individual come back to India. So from the second year, he will be liable for whole world income. Okay, DTAA मैंने बता दिया. अभी ये amendment की वजह से earned income from the property situated in India, he has to pay tax, which is taxable otherwise. Now ये first column और second column के last two column का difference मैं समझा देता हूँ. Whether taxable in India prior to amendment in the case of non-resident and whether taxable pursuant to amendment in hands of non-resident. अभी जो definition change हो गई, Because of that, interest income received from an Indian company on rupee denominated bond, if it exceed 40,000, okay, 40 lakh, जैसे 15 लाख से ऊपर हो गया, he has to pay tax qua new provision. बराबर है. पहले ये इनकम एग्जाम थी 120 डेज के क्राइटेरिया के हिसाब से. But here I have distinguished between criteria 1 before criteria and after criteria. Okay, interest payable on unit located in international IFCS. 1 सितंबर के बाद में उसको 40 लाख का इंटरेस्ट मिला. ओल्ड डेफिनेशन के हिसाब से एग्जाम था, बट न्यू एक्सेशन से वो टैक्सेबल है. डिविडेंड का भी टैक्स में आ गया है. पहले DTAA के हिसाब से 10% मिलता था. सो बिकॉज ऑफ द चेंज इन द डेफिनेशन, इंटरेस्ट ऑन FCNR वो एग्जाम पहले मैंने जो बताया उसके हिसाब से एग्जाम से गए. income accruing or rising outside India, say in UK, it will remain non-taxable otherwise also. If you look into this slide, you will be able to distinguish between all the explanation. I'll share this slide on my YouTube as well as this thing. So you'll be able to this. State person, because those who have income more than 15 lakh and he is not a resident of any domicile or resident of any country, he will be deemed to be, if he is a citizen of India, he will be deemed to be resident of India and he has to pay all global income. But this section is applicable if his Indian income is exceeding 15 lakh. Indian foreign income की source की definition मैंने आगे आपको बता दिया है. So now I am into FEMA. I'm not going into any of the Indian international tax. If anyone has a query, or I will take it later on the second phase of my calculation presentation. Right now, मैं आपको my plan is to give you a FEMA overall view. How is FEMA? And I would be covering mostly for immovable property, and how is the bank account, and what is inbound, what is outbound, what are the entities available. So overall view I'll be covering. In detail we will go on the next slide because we have 1 hour to finish the talk. These are the entry point. These are the points which I have it in my mind. FEMA background. Preliminary FEMA is पहले FERA था, उसको FEMA में convert किया. Is a liberal government has given a liberal, again becoming more and more liberal because India has got a lot of surplus fund, and that's why they are not they're focusing on interest burden कम बने, capital account transaction हो सके इतना free रहे, current account transaction almost free. You can current account में कुछ भी जा सकते हो, no problem. So these are the definition, section 1 and 2, jurisdiction, section 3 and 9, restriction, current account, capital account, export, realization. These are the section 39 section, 49 section. The concept is capital account, current account. Section is foreign asset, Indian person, foreign person, Indian resident, non-resident, and this thing. Suppose Indian resident is dealing with Indian property, there is no problem. In non-resident, suppose non-NRI, or if he's dealing with foreign asset, foreign currency, no issue. Nobody would ask you the question. As soon as NRI dealing with Indian property and selling one NRI to another NRI or say NRI to abroad, then because it is Indian property, there would be a problem. Indian person having a foreign asset, dealing with foreign asset, there would be a FEMA applicable. So FEMA is applicable cross-border transaction. If it is that way transaction, no issue. This way transaction, no issue. So let's say Indian continent using Indian continent, no issue. Foreign continent using foreign national, no issue. As soon as foreign national you dealing with Indian currency, Indian national dealing with foreign asset, there would be a applicability of the law. So what is current account transaction? So current account transaction means there are trade account, export, import. Okay. So we are exporting goods, services, both are covered. Visible, invisible, whatever it's called, current account transaction. Invisible means invisible qua not export and import, but qua flowing of a fund. which is qua current account, not this thing. You're touring, traveling, remitting, gifting, profit, dividend, interest. So current account transaction is freely permitted unless specifically restricted. So there is no restriction in current account transaction. While capital account transactions are prohibited unless it is specifically generally permitted or specifically. Capital account transactions are restricted, but subject to general permission or specific permission. Prohibition है तो उसको कुछ कोई भी करना. In FEMA there is a prohibition. You can't do it. You can do it within limit, permitted with rider, or you have to go and ask for the permission. So this is the how, and sometimes you need to intimate also. If you don't intimate, there is a penalty. So these are the way the transactions are handled. Are you clear about current transaction, capital account transaction? Now I'm going to residential status. हमने residential status इंडियन इनकम टैक्स के हिसाब से गिन लिया. इनकम टैक्स के हिसाब से हमने जो बोला था वो मैं फिर से रिपीट कर देता हूँ. 182 days or 60 days on to 365 days. 60 days extended to 182 days if he leaves India or is in a visit to India. Okay, now the 60 days is extended to 182 days is restricted to 120 days. 120 days if it is his foreign income is more than 15 lakh, deemed residential status. So this is about regarding definition of an individual. फिर इसके 9 out of 10 years, 729 to 7 years, citizen of India or a person of Indian origin who stayed in India 122 days more but less than 20 days, and he is a citizen of India who is deemed to be resident under section 6(1)(e). So an individual, ये मैंने आपको resident, non-resident और resident की definition समझाई. Now ये जो definition है पूरे financial year के लिए होता है, जबकि FEMA की definition qua each moment qua जब transaction होता है तब होता है. So what is the purpose of the definition is different. Intention, income, ये FEMA की definition goes by intention. Income definition को intention से कोई मतलब नहीं. How many days you are here? That's all. So it's a mechanical. Here it is go with intention. So now I'm going into definition of section 2U as per FEMA. Individual, HUF, company, firm, associate of person, body of individual, artificial intelligence, and agency. These are the kind of person defined in FEMA. Let us go into individual. Individual who is residing in India for more than 1 to 2 days, then it when the preceding financial, but जो preceding financial year, suppose 1/4/2020 to 31st March 20 में मैं 182 days से ज़्यादा रहा, then for the next financial year I will be deemed to be resident in India, subject to if I leave for an employment outside India, if I leave for carrying on business vocation out of India, or any other purpose which indicates that I'm not sure when I will come back. So for example, may suppose I give you an example of X person who has been 182 days से ज़्यादा financial year 2021 में रहा. Now on suppose 1st June 2021, he left India for employment, carrying on business or this purpose. He would be deemed to be a non-resident the day he leaves. Yes, no, clear? Yes, a person who has stayed in India, suppose X is a Y is a person, he has a 0 days in financial year 2021, but on 1st June he has came back to India for employment, for carrying on a business of India, or for a purpose which indicates that he is going to stay in India for not a period which is known to him. On that day, 1st June, he become a resident of India. Clear? Qua residence, qua A, qua B. I will explain you. A person. Okay. A person resident in India, section 2, subsection 5. 2 subsection V of FEMA. Any other body, any other person. जो मैंने ऊपर का जो definition है person जो नहीं है वो इसके सिवाय जो भी definition थी मैं आपको फिर से बता देता हूँ. individual ratio would be considered together. Company, firm, AOP, artificial intelligence of person. इसके लिए definition 2V आएगा. Any other person or body of corporate, if is registered or incorporated in India, taxable, वो resident माना जाएगा. Office, branch और agency in India owned or controlled by a non-resident. किसी ने इंडिया में ऑफिस की तो उसका ट्रांजेक्शन would be considered as resident in India. ऑफिस ब्रांच आउटसाइड इंडिया ऑन कंट्रोल बाय रेसिडेंट इंडिया. हमारी कोई भी ऑफिस है, ऑफिस ब्रांच और एजेंसी इज आउटसाइड इंडिया बट इज अ पर्सन कंट्रोल्ड बाय नॉन रेसिडेंट, then he would be that branch office would be considered as a resident. This thing, a company ho, any suppose ABC Private Limited, ABC Private Limited, if it is incorporated in India, it would be a resident. Suppose ABC is XYZ Corporation is registered in USA but is controlled by person resident in India, that XYZ would be considered as a resident in India. Okay, person resident outside India, a person resident section 2W, person who is not resident in India, Indian student. मैंने आपको वो डेफिनेशन के ऊपर से मैंने सबको समझा दिया कहाँ क्या है. Is a FEMA definition. It's not an income tax definition. A person resident outside India, section 2W of FEMA. A person who is resident of the Indian student studying abroad, circulum, along with the studies, student may take up jobs or seek scholarship, supplement income. Hence, his stay for prolonged, that is not intended to living in India. While living in India, अगर वो आदमी पढ़ने के लिए जाता है, कब वापस आएगा किसी को पता नहीं है, तो he would be deemed to be a non-resident. They are not dependent on a dominant part of their expensive remittances from their household in India. Hence, their stay will be less than more than 72. Intention will also be to stay outside India for an uncertain period. Thus, they can be considered as non-resident Indian. Indian student going abroad for study can be considered as a non-resident. Person resident but not permanent resident. ये एक टिपिकल डेफिनेशन है. जनरली फेमा में रेसिडेंट और नॉन रेसिडेंट होता है, but this is an exception to this. Person resident but not permanent resident. Schedule 3 read with Rule 5 of the FEMA current account will refer to slide this. A person resident in on account of employment or duration of a specified duration, irrespective of for a specified job or an assignment, the duration of which does not exceed 3 years. अगर कोई गवर्नमेंट कोई किसी को गवर्नमेंट ऑफिसर को 2 साल के लिए बाहर रखा, कोई कंपनी ने सपोज इन्फोसिस ने किसी को 2 साल के लिए बाहर भेजा for a period not less than 2 years, then he would be considered as person resident but not permanent resident as per schedule 3 read with rule 3. अभी मैं एक एग्जांपल के साथ आपको समझाना चाहता हूँ. आई एम ट्राइंग टू मिस्टर एक्स लिव्स इंडिया ऑन 1st September 2016 for taking up employment outside India for the first time. What will be the residency status? The day he leaves India on 1st September, he becomes non-resident. Mr. Y, staying in Dubai for past several years, came to India on 1st May for medical treatment. He has not visited India during 15-16. He is planning to return to Dubai after a medical treatment. Doctors have advised him to stay in India up to 31st October. Suppose अगर आप फाइनेंशियल ईयर फेमा में देखते हो तो 16-17 में उसका 182 डेज से ज्यादा हो गया, but still he will not be considered as resident because the definition is an exception to the definition. हमने आगे पढ़ा था. इफ इज मैं आपको फिर से पीछे डेफिनेशन ले जाता हूँ पीछे. ये डेफिनेशन है, पार्ट बी में फॉलो होगा. सेक्शन 2(5) FEMA 2, a person who has comes to and stay in India for an employment, for carrying on business, for any purpose which indicates that he stay in India for an uncertain period. Here he is very clear that he will go back as soon as his medical condition improves. So he will not be coming under this provision. Clear? मैं कहाँ था? I just moved out. I have to go back. ये मैंने current account ले लिया, residence status में था. Okay. So here this is clear. This is regarding Mr. Y. Now what is capital account transaction? What is current account transaction? मैंने वो अगली slide में आपको बता दिया है. Capital account transaction क्या है? Current account transaction है. This I have covered. So I am not covering this. Status cover कर दिया. So now I am going into What are the restricted transactions? There are transactions which are restricted. Remittance out of lottery outside India is not permitted. Remittance out of income arising from racing and riding and other hobby is not allowed. Purchase of lottery ticket, barn, prescribed magazine, football pool, sweep is not allowed. Payment of commission of export towards an equity investment in joint venture abroad more than 10%, more than certain percentage not allowed. Payment of commission for export made towards equity investment. This is a different thing. If your equity investment joint venture abroad है तो नहीं मिलेगा. But if you are doing for a payment of a commission for export under rupee state credit route exception, except up to 10% of invoice value of export into commission. पेमेंट ऑफ कमीशन अगर वो एक्सपोर्ट के लिए वो भी अलाउड नहीं है सब्जेक्ट टू दिस पेमेंट रिलेटेड टू कॉल बैक ऑफ सर्विसेज नॉट अलाउड रेमिटर्स ऑफ इंटरेस्ट ऑफ फंड हेल्ड इन नॉन रेसिडेंट स्पेशल रूपी स्कीम ये अभी तो ज्यादा कुछ है नहीं the above transaction are not permitted even from RFC or EFC account. Basically REFC और EFC में तुम्हारा पैसा जो if you want some money out of foreign exchange export you are allowed to keep hold there and you are allowed to use it, but for the above said purpose you are not allowed to spend the money for this purpose. In terms of FDI policy, even the technology collaboration for the above said transactions including lottery gambling are not allowed to make the payment. So these are restricted. This is a rule 4. This is a cultural tour. I'm not going into each of these transactions because it is not material. But once you are falling under this, you are allowed to do that. Remittance by resident in excess of limit. USD अभी ये extend हो गया है. So it goes to 1 million under liberalized scheme. There once you are coming under liberalized scheme, they will not ask you any question. You will be allowed to send the money for the following purpose: private visit to any country, gift or occasion, gift or donation, going abroad for employment, immigration, maintenance of close relative, travel or business conference, expenses in connection with medical treatment, studies abroad, or any other current account transaction. For the current account transaction, you are allowed to do anything you want to do. So government does not restrict anyone to do the aforesaid transaction. A person who is a resident but not permanent resident and is a citizen of a foreign state other than Pakistan, or is a citizen of India who is deputed abroad for this purpose may make remittance up to his net salary. जितना भी पगार मिला है, we are allowed to do this. A remittance by person other than individual. जो आदमी इंडिविजुअल है उसको लिबरलाइज स्कीम में अलाउड है, बट दोज हु आर नॉट इंडिविजुअल उनको भी डोनेशन करना है एक्सीडिंग 1% ऑफ द फॉरेन एक्सचेंज अर्निंग ड्यूरिंग द प्रीवियस ईयर. उन्होंने जो भी पैसा कमाया उसका 1% दे कैन गिव ए डोनेशन. गवर्नमेंट डजंट ban on this. क्रिएशन ऑफ चेयर्स रेप्यूटेड एजुकेशन, कोई भी जगह पे आपको नाम कमाने के लिए क्रिएशन चेयर बनाने के लिए अगर पैसा दे जाए, फंड फॉर प्रमोशन ऑफ एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशन, contribution to a technical body assistance in the field of activity of donor company, ये आपको अलाउड है. कमीशन पर ट्रांजेक्शन एजेंट अब्रॉड फॉर सेल ऑफ रेसिडेंशियल फ्लैट, कमर्शियल प्लॉट इन इंडिया एक्सचेंज रुपीज US 25,000 और 5% इन्वर्टर whichever is more. अगर आपको कमीशन आपका इंडियन रेसिडेंस इंडिया में प्लॉट है, किसी ने फॉरेन में आपका प्लॉट इंडिया में है, किसी ने फॉरेन में आपको सपोर्ट किया कि ये प्लॉट बेचने के लिए, तो 25,000 USD प्लस 5% इज अलाउड. रेमिटेंस एक्सीडिंग US 10 lakh क्या 10 million per project for any consultancy service in respect of infrastructure project or 1 million per project for the consultancy is allowed. So up to 10 million you can do for project consultancy in respect of infrastructure project or for any other project $1 million. Remittance exceeding 5% of investment brought into India or US 100K 100K is allowed, whichever is held by entity by reimbursement of pre-incorporation expenses. Rule 5, I'm not going into all the rule for the purpose of clarity because these are A remittance of in excess of 2,500 liberalized scheme. I am not going into that. A cultural tool तो मैंने पहले बोल दिया. Okay, entry option. These are the way you can incorporate the company. Say for example, let me say these are the options available to you. Liaison office. Okay, when a company can have a liaison office. Liaison office is nothing but a postmaster. They can collect the papers and send hand over back to them. As a channel of communication cannot undertake any commercial activity. Liaison activity कर सकते हैं, branch office कर सकते हैं. I had been involved in many companies in this. हमने कभी ब्रांच किया, कभी liaison office किया, कभी WS किया. तो अगर फॉरेन से किसी को इंडिया में आना है, ओके, तो एक लिएजन ऑफिस बना सकता है, ब्रांच ऑफिस बना सकता है. ब्रांच ऑफिस में व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन लिएजन ऑफिस एंड अ ब्रांच ऑफिस? In a branch office, he can export import goods on a professional services, representing pattern, research activity ले सकता है, and no manufacturing activity. ब्रांच ऑफिस में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एक्टिविटी अलाउड नहीं है. प्रोजेक्ट ऑफिस मीन्स आपने एक प्रोजेक्ट लिया, उसी के लिए आप काम करते हो. दैट इज कॉल्ड प्रोजेक्ट ऑफिस. एंड साइट ऑफिस, प्रोजेक्ट ऑफिस बंदे होली ऑन सब्सिडरी कंपनी नहीं बना दो. इनकॉर्पोरेट और you joined with somebody else is a joint venture. So there would be a SUV or some company there, and you are joining as a partner, say 50-50, 40-60, whatever ratio may be. Unincorporated in you, जिसको हम unincorporated joint venture. So Google is there, and you are joining with a Google. Now Google will not allow you to have a incorporated joint venture. They would say that you will be having a SUV or some project, and we will be working as a unincorporated joint venture. You can have LLP and partnership form. So form of entity when you want to join is called, somebody comes in India, they can have a liaison office, branch office, project office, wholly owned subsidiary, or incorporated joint venture, unincorporated joint venture, limited liability, LLP. ये सब हो सकता है. Form of business entity. Partnership, sole proprietorship, and AOP by non-residents are not permitted. NRI or PIO can be a partner in a partnership firm, sole proprietorship firm on non-representation basis. Prohibition is in the area of agriculture, real estate, business, and print media. In special circumstances, consortium of AOP GOV is allowed. Okay, now into next slide. प्रोजेक्ट ऑफिस क्या कर सकते हैं, ब्रांच ऑफिस क्या कर सकते हैं, लिएजन ऑफिस क्या कर सकता है. ओके, इसका डिस्टिंक्शन मैं यहाँ देता हूँ. प्रोजेक्ट ऑफिस में आपको इंटीमेशन करना होता है ऑथोराइज डीलर को, जबकि ब्रांच और लिएजन ऑफिस करते हो तो आपको एक फॉर्म कंपनी का, जैसे आरओसी में जाके इसको एक एफएनसी फॉर्म भरना होता है, जिसका एक यूरिन नंबर जनरेट होता है, और यूरिन की एक्टिविटी हर साल ब्रांच ऑफिस और लिएजन ऑफिस आपको उधर सबमिट करना होता है. एडिन यूरिन यूआईएन नंबर जो जनरेट होता है अलॉटेड बाय आरबीआई, यूआईएन नंबर से आपकी कंपनी जाने जाएगी. यूआईएन और एफएनसी मतलब, एफएनसी मतलब यू टू गो टू आरओसी साइट एंड यू टू फॉर्म फिल द फॉर्म एफएनसी. Okay, application in FNC, UIN, application to RBI this way. A FEMA compliance, annual activity certificate you need to submit within 6 months from the end of the financial year. Okay, company law registration, application to ROC within 30 days of establishment. ROC to issue a certificate to issue the certificate for establishment of company in India. वो जो मैंने बोला वो ROC फाइलिंग हर साल करना पड़ेगा. मीन्स आपकी प्रॉफिट लॉस अकाउंट की बैलेंस शीट बनेगी और ये सबमिट हो जाएगा. पान नंबर टान नंबर के हिसाब से आपको रिटर्न भरना पड़ेगा फॉर नो एक्टिविटी और प्रॉफिट लॉस अकाउंट जो भी बना के देना है. कॉन्स्टिट्यूटिव पीई एज पर टैक्सेशन, प्रोजेक्ट ऑफिस और दोनों का पीई बनेगा. प्रोजेक्ट ऑफिस, ब्रांच ऑफिस और लिएजन ऑफिस में, in liaison office there may not be PE, but project office, branch office may there would be a PE for you. constitute a PE for company and taxed on income attributable to Indian operation. May not be P because liaison office only does क्या बोलते हैं courier activity. ये आता है वो उधर भेज देता है. But may not be P as permitted to carry on business. No commercial activity is there. Income tax compliances. Income tax return बनना पड़ेगा. Tax audit report. This is about project office and branch office. I'm telling. Okay. Income tax return, tax audit report, transfer pricing report, annually TDS compliance सब बना पड़ा है. उसमें liaison office में खाली 49C भर दो, बात खत्म. Registers complying indirect tax law, employee provident for other laws will be applicable to each of them. So I am talking about liaison office for 5 minutes. Okay, then we will continue for next time. So in 5 minutes, what I should cover, what I should not cover. Anyone has a question can ask me a chat, or I'm opening Pandora's box for anyone to talk on the subject. Okay, anybody want to ask a question? They can unmute themselves and ask a question. So should I continue, or anybody wants to ask a question? Okay, I'm continuing. Anybody wants to, you can chat, you can write a question in chat. Okay, okay. Okay, I'm continuing with my talk and finish. I'm planning to finish by 8, by 7:45 to 8. So let me finish something on liaison office. Liaison office is a liaison office. I've started for a few of my company as a liaison office. Then we converted it to branch office. Then we converted it into WS, and we had done a manufacturing active also. We had even borrowed the money from India also, Indian bank also. So liaison office में क्या होता है वो मैं आपको cover कर देता हूँ in 2 slides. Branch office, liaison office. If the principal liaison office, if principal business of foreign entity is eligible for 100% FDI on automatic route. आपको ये कभी करने देगा जब आपका ऑटोमेटिक रोड में आता है. इफ अगर ऑटोमेटिक रोड में नहीं आता है, to establish that you are making this thing. Suppose बैटरी बिजनेस है, बैटरी बिजनेस इज अलाउड बिजनेस फॉर ट्रेडिंग एक्टिविटी. सो आरबीआई की अप्रूवल की जरूरत नहीं, ऑटोमेटिक रूट में अप्लाई कर दो. If it is a prohibition activity or some specific activity, you have to go for a specific list wise this thing. Eligibility criteria, profit making track record for immediately preceding 3 years in home country. ये सब कंपनी को जो कंपनी लिएजन ऑफिस यहाँ बनाती है, they should have a track record of making money, making profit for last 3 years, and net worth of the company should not be less than $50,000. Defined as a, this liaison office would be considered as defined as a place of business, act as a communication channel between HO and entity in India, and her head office is whatever country you are. You may be UK, you may be Bangladesh, or whatever country you are. Does not undertake any commercial activity. Liaison office does not take any commercial activity, trading activity, industry activity, directly or indirectly. Maintains itself out of inward remittance received from abroad. So their work is and no commercial activity, no trading, no industrial activity, only work as a liaison office. Permissible activity according to them. Represent India as the parent and a group. कभी कोई मेला होता है उधर जाता है, गवर्नमेंट को रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं. They go to some representation, take the order, send it across, and the order is supplied. Suppose there's a company in UK, they are going to a different company or different government offices. They present their facts of the foreign company. They get an order, send the order abroad, and the goods will be dispatched from UK directly to the new company where it is a liaison office only. So permits represent in India and the parent company, promote export import to India, promote technical and financial consistency between parent and group company in Indian company, act as a communication channel between India and parent company. Okay, and here it will be Article 353 of DTAA exclusion to PE. Storage नहीं कर सकते हैं, डिस्प्ले नहीं कर सकते, IEC नहीं मिलेगा, इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट कोड नहीं मिलेगा, IEC number, maintenance of stock is not permitted, deliveries of goods are not permitted. Article 3, purchase of goods of export not permitted by collecting information for the enterprise is permitted by RBI. Advertising supply of information for scientific purchase, scientific research or activities that are preparatory auxiliary in nature permitted by, however, research is permitted by RBI only in the branch office only. अगर आप उसमें research नहीं कर सकते हो. In case of Article 5 of subjects for DIMP, RBI approved a liaison office cannot be habitually exercise the power to negotiate and conclude the contract. So they are not negotiations. So they are not DIMP. RBI habitually, not habitually cyclical. So in that case, Article 5(4) says that in case of a liaison office, they don't become a DIMP. Finance Act 2018, because of Google and all these things. Now they've got a new concept. So now all these P, non-P, economic concept, these will all be reduced to a mockery बहुत हो गई है. This MNCs have taken a lot of tax planning to save the tax. Now it has time has come, world has realized they have to pay tax and they would start paying tax now. Business connection under section 9(1) of Income Tax Act 911, the scope aligned with the modified PE rule as per MLI to include any business activity carried through a person who is acting on behalf of a non-resident, habitually concludes the contract or habitually plays the principal role leading to conclusion of contract by a non-resident. So what does it mean? What I said to you is like this: to include very through a person acting on behalf of non-resident, habitually conclude the contract, habitually plays the principal role of lending. In that case, concludes it would become a PE. Exclusion of activity limited to purchase of goods, no problem. अगर आप परचेज और सेल करते हो प्रॉब्लम नहीं, बट आप हैबिचुअली कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कंक्लूड करते हो, देन यू बिकम ए पार्ट ऑफ पीई. Business connection under section 9(1) of income tax includes significant economic presence. What do you mean by significant economic presence? As defined means transaction in respect of goods, services, or property carried on by a non-resident in India, including provision of download of data or software in India, and provide the revenue therefrom exceed the monetary threshold limit as may be described. अगर ये सब भी नहीं करते हो, systematic continuing soliciting, this is regarding Google, systematic continuous soliciting of business activity or engaging in interaction with users exceeding the number of इन्होंने threshold limit रखी, इनको small company के पीछे नहीं जाना है. In India through digital means, say this for Google. ये मैंने branch office liaison office conclude किया. So now this presentation I'm planning to put it on web. We are here concluding because time is running out. Let me tell what I'm going to cover next is about branch office, inbound investment, outbound investment, what are the provision of foreign direct investment, FIPB, what are these are the judgment that I'm going to about. ECB credit, trade credit, masala bond, I'll take it later on. I'm planning to cover outbound investment किस तरह से होता है. Then ये okay, screenshot stop, screen sharing stop. Okay, I will go again back to screen share. Okay, कहाँ है? Okay, let me go here. Okay, Are you? I think you may not be able to see it. So I'm just sharing. I'm just saying what I'm going to cover in next time. मैं ये share और ODI क्या outbound investment, inbound investment. I will take it later on. Then I'll cover ODI. ODI means outbound investment, inbound investment क्या क्या provision है. I'll cover that. ODI for individual, overseas offices क्या होता है, bank account क्या क्या होता है, that I'm going to cover. What are the types of account? Let me share with you, then you'll be able to get it fast. Okay. Share the screen. Share the screen. Okay. Share. Okay. And the next presentation, I'll be covering this. Anyone want to speak something? Or
Oh, yes, got it. I can see it. No issue. Thank you.
meaning ODI. This I'm going to cover later on because 1 hour is passed and our time is running out. Overview, ODI corporate, ODI individual, overseas office. What are the types of bank account? What are the permissible deposit and withdrawal from that? NRE, FCNR cover foreign currency account by Indian. What are the types of foreign currency? Remittance, क्या remittance outside कर सकते हो? और immovable property का क्या है, that I'll be covering later on. And form 15CA 15CB कब भरना है, क्या भरना है, कैसे भरना है, that I'll be covering later on. With this, anyone want to ask me a question? I'll be answering the question. This presentation would be available on blog as well as YouTube. Any questions, sir? Anybody wants to ask me a question?
No.
Yeah, okay. Can we conclude? Can we conclude now?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Parag, you want to ask me any question? Parag,
No, sir.
yeah, one more thing which I'm my main purpose is to canvas for. Main purpose is like if I want many persons to join ISACA. ISACA is an NGO and they are into, we are, our main purpose is कि अगर आप सीसा करो, डीसा करो, CISSP करो, you just expand your vision. अगर ये आप ये सब कोर्स करेंगे तो आपको later on बहुत सारा benefit होगा. Because of today, because of all the courses which I've done in the past. So I wish many join the different courses that would make them a different person. And for that, if anybody wants material, I'll provide. How to do it, I will provide. And what benefit which is likely to accrue to you because of doing CISA and all these things. Anyone can mail me, nitin@gmail.com. With this, thanks for wonderful present, wonderful hearing, allotting a lot of time. Thanks. With this, I'm concluding. Thanks a lot. Parag, Sanjay, JSK, Harpal, everybody, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
When will the next session, sir?
I think I've given a schedule on my blog. Mostly next time something else will be covering. मेरा एक friend है, he will be planning to take on bank audit कैसे किया जाए. Bank audit में जो भी DISA का जो special bank audit है वो.
Okay.
So mostly I want to plan to cover a lot of subject on system and security. Because that is the mean where people are going to get money. Particularly for CA.
Okay, good. No issue.
Okay.